Good evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, Nigeria to demand repatriation of her stolen funds as part of the country's agenda at the forthcoming 72nd United Nations General Assembly in New York. Abia State Governor Kezie Ikpeazu declares dusk to dawn curfew in the commercial town of Abia following rising tension after clash between the army and pro-Biafra agitators. President Buhari inaugurates 150 million naira animal feed factory in Kaduna, expected to generate about 600 direct and 400,000 indirect jobs. More help comes to the Caribbean islands ravaged by Hurricane Irma as European countries boost relief efforts amid criticism over poor response.
On business news tonight, outgoing president of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Igboje Ige Imokude, announces plans to transform the local bourse from frontier to emerging capital markets.
In sports news, the Nigeria Rugby Football Federation confirms Black Stallions will feature in the Africa Cup Sevens on October 6th in Kampala, Uganda.
And from Abuja, federal government moves to check illicit mining operations and resuscitate the sector to enhance foreign direct investment in the country.
We begin tonight with what can be described as Nigeria's agenda to be tabled when world leaders gather for the 72nd General Assembly of the United Nations next week. The repatriation of Nigeria's stolen funds back into the country, combating terrorism, and entrenching the human rights of Nigerians are some of the issues that the country will focus on at the global event. That's according to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Jeffrey Onyama, who gave the list of items to reporters in Abuja. He added that President Muhammadu Buhari is expected to lead the Nigerian delegation to the UN meeting.
A major global challenge, of course, is the issue of terrorism. And for us, of course, that is also a big priority, and it's one of the priorities Mr. President has identified and that the country is fully engaged in addressing. So we will again be engaging with the international community in trying to find a definitive and lasting solution to the global challenge of terrorism. We will share with the international community the challenges that we have been facing and successes and the further support that we need in our engagement with the scourge of terrorism, and also support in freeing all the hostages held by the terrorist groups here in Nigeria, the Chibok girls and all the others. And that's still a priority for this government. Another issue will be the question of illicit flow of financial assets around the world.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Jeffrey Onyama. Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo is in Nigeria on a brief visit to President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja. President Akufo-Addo was accorded the courtesy of the Nigerian Guard of Honor before he went into a closed-door meeting with President Buhari at the new banquet hall of the State House. The Ghanaian president says he's in Nigeria to felicitate with the president on his return from medical vacation.
All of us have been very anxious about his well-being, and it was very good news to hear that he had returned. But we're Africans, and it meant that I had to come and see for myself how he was. And I'm very delighted to see that he's come back and very vigorous and, as always, very engaged on the issues of our day. So we've had a good half an hour together, reviewing matters both in Ghana and in Nigeria. as well as immediate matters to do with what's going on in the ECOWAS community. So I'm very happy that I've had this opportunity to come, and I'm going back to Ghana very fortified and able to tell the Ghanaian nation that our big brother Nigeria is well and that things are well in hand here.
Ghanaian President Nana Akufo-Addo. Let's turn our attention now to the situation in Abia State, where there's been tension following the clash between the army and pro-Biafra agitators. The state governor, Okezie Ekpeazu, today declared a dusk-to-dawn curfew in the commercial town of Abia from today till Thursday, September 14th. The military had staged a show of force at an area believed to be the ancestral home of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, on Sunday. But the governor is now calling for caution on both sides. Governor Ekpeazu says, while the government of Abia State recognizes the right of the Nigerian Army and other security agencies to perform their statutory duty of protection of lives and property of Nigerian citizens, such duties must be carried out within acclaimed Nigerian and international standards of engagement with the civil populace, with due respect to the human rights of citizens and sanctity of human lives. He says his government is committed to the protection of lives and property of citizens and others residing and doing business within Abia State. The governor adds that Abia State remains a component state of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and describes the supremacy of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and all other extant laws. The curfew will be effective from 6 in the evening to 6 in the morning. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Union of Journalists Abia State chapter has condemned the invasion of its office in Umuahia, allegedly by men of the Nigerian army. The state chairman, John Emejo, described the action as an attack on innocent citizens of the country and demanded that the perpetrators be fished out. It was gathered that the soldiers descended on the center located on Aba Road, Umuahia, and allegedly destroyed some valuables, claiming they saw someone taking photographs of them from the building. When contacted, the Commissioner of Police in the state, Mr. Olaleye Oyebade, said he was informed of the incident on phone by the council, but is yet to get a formal notification. He said he had asked the chairman of the council to send the recorded evidence of the alleged damage done in the office to him, and that he was yet to receive it. The Director of Public Relations at the 82 Division of the Nigerian Army, Colonel Sajir Musa, has apologized to journalists at the Abia State chapter of the NUJ. He's also informed them about the plans by the Army to carry on with its planned operation, codenamed Exercise Python Dance 2.
The brigade commander has been here before. We have been speaking with him, and he came, and I think they reached certain terms with those affected. So please, this is basically why I'm here. And to also use this opportunity, giving you a number here, to appeal as usual. The exercise Igweke 2 will fully start on the 15th of September, this coming Friday, and it will end on 14th of October. We have done it before last year, because exercise Igweke 2 it's just like exercise Python dance. It's just the name we changed to reflect the native language, Igweke, which is equivalent to Python dance. We have done one last year, and this is the exercise Igweke 2. Exercise Igweke 2 is targeted at prevalent security challenges that are already identified in the southeastern part of Nigeria, comprising of Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, Imo State, and some parts of Cross River states.
Staying with developments in the Southeast, Socio-Cultural Organization of the Igbo, Ohaneze Ndigbo, is asking the military to cease its ongoing action in the Southeast, describing it as one aimed at intimidating the people of the area. The military began an operation in the Southeast codenamed Python Dance 2, through which it aims to flush the area of criminals and others threatening the security of the area. Ohaneze Ndigbo, in a statement by its President General, Chief John Wodo, asked the federal government to order an end to the military operation meant to last a month, which it says amounts to an invasion of the southeast. He adds, in a democracy, the level of disenchantment expressed by the people of the southeast of Nigeria ought to have provoked a serious dialogue between our people and the federal executive and the legislature. History teaches us that the continuous use of force to silence dissent and free speech will only accelerate the growth of dissent and dissatisfaction. Fundamental rights of freedom of expression are critical for a successful democracy. He argued that there is no evidence to support the claim that the operation is aimed at tackling crime, as the Operation Python Dance 1 did not accomplish that. There are reports, however, of a clash between some members of the indigenous people of Biafra and the Hausa community in Oigbo, a border town between Rivers and Abia State, leaving properties destroyed and an unconfirmed number of persons wounded. The Deputy Director Public Relations of 6th Division, Nigerian Army, Colonel Aminu Ilyasu, informed Channels Television that he received some distress calls from some residents who claimed that some IPOB members were unleashing mayhem in the area. According to him, some troops have been deployed there to quell the crisis, but he did not confirm the number of casualties. Unfavorable foreign exchange rate, bad roads, limited access to credit, and policy inconsistency have been identified as some of the major challenges confronting the nation's manufacturing sector. The Chief Executive Officer of NOI Polls, Dr. Bell Igwa, says 74% of manufacturing companies are worried about the non-supportive business environment. He also says the survey conducted also shows that lack of infrastructure, red tapeism and corruption were identified as some of the structural bottlenecks undermining business environment in Nigeria.
Just a few weeks back, the National Bureau of Statistics released figures which suggest that the nation is gradually coming out of the economic recession which had taken a toll on government, the private sector, and members of the public. But just as Nigerians are about to take this in, a survey conducted by an independent body reveals that the nation's manufacturing sector is still grappling with issues of unfavorable foreign exchange, bad roads, policy inconsistency, and weak demand.
Selected from the sampling frame of a database of small, medium, and large companies developed by NOI Polls, the target respondents for the survey were manufacturers, owner managers, general managers, directors, and C-level officials and decision makers within the manufacturing sector.
The survey, which covered a total of 496 companies across 12 states, namely Lagos, Ogun, Rivers, Delta, Kano, Kaduna, Bauchi, Adamawa, Plateau, and Abuja, shows that 74% of companies found their business environment non-supportive. An average of 85 others are said to be operating less than their installed capacities. Also, 75% of the manufacturing companies say the disparity in foreign exchange has had negative impact on their operations.
Almost half of the companies interviewed, about 48%, considered importation of raw materials critical to their production, particularly medium and large manufacturing companies, up to 62% who have to import raw materials into the country. And of course, with the current disparity in foreign exchange, it has affected them.
Government officials at different meetings promised to ensure that the nation's manufacturing sector contributes significantly to the nation's socio-economic development, with the latest figures depicting how the sector has fared in 2017. It may just be time to match words with action in reviving the sector.